am the immigration attorney on Instagram. But I wanted to give you an update. So there is this, so the reconciliation bill, the spending bill that's going through the Congress right now. A part of that bill was that there was an immigration provision that would have made individuals, undocumented individuals, legal in the United States. I believe it was opening the door for legal immigration for some 8 million individuals. And that's because it would have offered legal status to those who have TPS, that's temporary protected status, for dreamers and those minors who came into the country, of course, when they were under 18, and then for farm workers, agricultural workers, and essential workers who are undocumented. However, the bad news is that when the Judiciary Committee went ahead and approved it, it was all Democrats who approved it. They still had to push this through the Senate Parliamentarian. The Senate Parliamentarian has to look at this immigration provision to make sure it complies with this spending bill. Because remember, it's a spending bill and it is related to U.S. revenue as well as spending and the budget. It is not necessarily the type of legislation that's meant to include other non-related items. Of course, the Democrats had argued that this does have a huge impact on spending and revenue. One, the revenues coming in from fees that would be paid, additional fees that would be paid from immigrants would impact the revenue, budget, and spending. Another argument they made was that this is very much a part of improving infrastructures to offer legal status to undocumented individuals who can turn around and contribute legally by legally working in the United States. And so offering status to these individuals would ultimately benefit the U.S. economy. However, she reviewed this and said no, it cannot be included. So their original plan of including provision that would allow for essential workers, for DACA recipients or dreamers, those who came into the country as minors, as well as TPS holders to obtain residence, fell dead in the water. However, the Democrats did not give up. They came up with a plan B, and this sounded great. There is a registry under immigration law. There is a registry that is a part of immigration law, but it doesn't apply to many people, and that's because it was in effect in 1972. Where individuals who were certain individuals who were in the United States before 1972 could then seek legal status in the United States. Now, the Plan B proposal was they're not going to change the law. It's not going to be a major change. All they're going to do is update the registry for newer arrivals. So for individuals who have been in the U.S. before 1972, which they're probably, everybody who could have taken advantage of this bill probably already did. And so it's very rare to find an individual who still qualifies for legal status under this registry. And so they turned around and said, newer arrivals should have this, so they would change the date from 1972 to a more recent date. I heard 2010. There were some calls to make it as recent as arrivals in January 1st, before January 1st, 2021. However, we just got the news tonight. Because they still had to run it through the Senate Parliamentarian. They were negotiating. They were really putting this to her and making the argument as to why she should push it through with the reconciliation bill, the spending bill. Unfortunately, she just turned it down and said it's still, because when she originally turned down the first proposal, that was a proposal for essential workers, TPS holders, as well as dreamers, she said that because so many individuals would become legal, it would then burden the budget rather than create a benefit. And so for that reason, she said she could not push it through. This was major legislation that she could not push through with a spending bill. And so it has to go through the regular legislative process. Because the upside here, why they really wanted to push it through with the spending bill, is because the spending bill only requires the Democratic majority, so 50 votes to be passed, 50 votes and the tiebreaker of the vice president. And so it would have made immigration reform possible. However, with major legislation in any other case, it's going to take more than just the 51 votes to get major legislation in. And so unfortunately, the Senate parliamentarian said it could not go through the reconciliation bill. Now, Plan B, she came back and said the same thing and said that this registry would have the same effect. It would inundate the system because now it's offering legal status to millions of undocumented immigrants. And so they have said that they do have a Plan C. And so I'm keeping an eye on that, and I'll be sure to keep you updated on that. So I don't see any questions, and I know I am making a quick stop in tonight, which is very rare. I am going to come back at my usual time at 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow on TikTok to be able to answer your questions. But I really wanted to give you this update because I know many individuals are on the edge of their seats hoping that something will happen. And unfortunately, it's not the good news that I am itching to tell you, but there is a Plan C, they say. And so you're welcome, Be Real, and thank you for tuning in and listening. And so I am going to keep an eye on this and just keep our fingers crossed that something will happen. Now I'm going to head over to Instagram. I usually, just like here where I have a pre-scheduled live at 9 p.m. Eastern time, I'll be back as usual tomorrow night at 9 p.m. I am going to be on Instagram though at 9:30. So our conversation doesn't have to end here. You can hop on over there to ask your questions. It's the immigration attorney, same as here. So you can come on, ask any immigration related questions that you want to. So what if you're in the state and want to apply on your own without being married? Is it going to be hard? So to do it on your own. So Shen, the sexy diva, there are only certain ways that you could qualify to apply for permanent residence on your own. And so schedule a consultation and let's talk about this. So one is VAWA, and then there are employment-based. If you have extraordinary ability, that means you're at the top of your field. That would definitely take a more detailed consultation to determine whether you qualify for that. VAWA, you have to show that you are being mistreated by a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident spouse, parent if you're under 25, or a citizen son or daughter 21 and up. Now, it's not really a matter of is it going to be hard. It's really answering the question, are you going to qualify? Once I determine that you qualify, I can help you to put a good application together to increase your chances of success. So call, schedule a consultation, and this goes for anybody else who's listening and you want personal legal advice. Because remember, the information I'm giving here is helpful. It can certainly help to guide you to a certain extent, but you shouldn't act on it until you get personal legal advice, and that's what I'm here to do, is to help my clients through the process and represent them through the process. So I'm going over to Instagram now. Hop on over there. I hope to see you. But if I don't see you on Instagram in a minute, know that I am going to be here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So you can hop on, join me, and ask your questions there. Have a good night, Vibes Cartel Vine. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. So how long would it take for a mom to sponsor her daughter? So it's really going to depend. Is the mom a U.S. citizen? Is the daughter over 21 and unmarried? Is the daughter under 21? It could possibly range from 2 years to decades. So over 12 years if that daughter is married. If she's unmarried, 6 to 7 years. So it's going to depend on your age, your marital status, your mom's immigration status. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. If I don't see you in a minute on Instagram, have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern.